how Katt Williams exposed Kevin Hart.
No one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show. Kevin told you he wasn't going to wear no dress until they offered him.
Hey, Wallace!
Would for your up. Shit is changing.
Katt Williams just blew up the internet. In a wild, no-filter interview with Shannon Sharpe, Katt didn't just spill the tea. He accused Kevin of selling his soul for fame, of being handpicked by Hollywood to replace him, and of going through a humiliation ritual that most fans didn't even realize was happening. Katt claimed Kevin was forced to wear a dress on national TV, and that moment wasn't comedy. It was compliance. According to Katt, this wasn't just about two comedians beefing. It was about exposing what really goes down behind Hollywood's closed doors. It sounded less like a rant and more like a warning. He's reportedly planning a massive defamation lawsuit that could drag this entire feud into court. Did Kevin sell out for success? Because one thing's for sure, you'll never look at Hollywood the same again. But that's just the beginning, because it gets darker, pettier, and a whole lot more personal from here. To really understand how this feud exploded, we've got to rewind the clock. Back before the lawsuits, the interviews, and the chaos. The sharp suits, the quick wit, the attitude, nobody could touch him. Meanwhile, Kevin Hart was still grinding. But while Kevin was rising, Katt's world started falling apart. Arrests, public meltdowns, wild rumors. The media turned on him fast, and every headline made him look more unstable than unstoppable. During an interview, Kevin took a few not-so-subtle shots at Katt. And that moment? Because to him, Kevin wasn't just another comedian. From that day forward, the feud was born. But behind that silence, Katt was watching. And when he finally came back years later, he came to burn bridges, drop names, and tell the world exactly what he thought of Kevin's rise to fame. Fast forward to 2024, not with a new comedy special, but with a vengeance. He sits down with Shannon Sharpe on Club Shay Shay, and from the very first minute, you can tell this isn't going to be a normal interview. And then, out of nowhere, he calls out Kevin Hart by name, accusing him of selling out, trading his integrity for fame, and doing whatever the industry told him to do. That moment when an entertainer has to prove their loyalty by doing something embarrassing or controversial, just to show they'll play the game. Katt wasn't just throwing shade. He started naming names, talking about the Hollywood elites, and claiming 2024 would be the year everyone's dirty secrets finally got exposed. He said, "The truth is coming." Fans couldn't believe it. Is Katt telling the truth? But here's where things get even wilder. And that's when this story took a turn nobody saw coming. Now here's where things take a seriously dark turn. For years, fans have whispered about this so-called Hollywood initiation, where Black comedians are pressured to wear dresses or play questionable roles just to prove they'll do anything for fame. When he refused, producers suddenly pulled out a whole new script, like they were ready for him to say no. Dave said straight up, "I'm funnier than a dress." Because years ago, Kevin once said he'd never wear a dress. But then it happened. Dress, wig, and that's when the internet said, "Didn't he say he'd never do that?" He jumped on Twitter saying, "I wore the dress because I thought it was funny. I'm my own boss, but fans weren't buying it." Because right after that skit, Kevin's career skyrocketed. Blockbuster movies, hosting gigs, world tours, endorsement deals. The moment he showed he'd play the game, proof that Kevin crossed the line he refused to. He was calling out the entire system that rewards those who obey and punishes those who don't. The story doesn't stop there, and it's one that made the Kevin versus Katt feud way more personal than anyone realized. After that, the conversation took a wild turn, one that had fans digging through old interviews and connecting dots nobody noticed before. He was chosen. Katt said Kevin was an industry plant, handpicked by Hollywood to replace him after he refused to play the game. Right when Katt's career started falling apart, after all those arrests, controversies, and bad press, Kevin's career suddenly exploded. Fans started connecting the dots. Katt claimed that once he started calling out the industry's dark side, Hollywood turned on him. He said everything he was promised went straight to Kevin, like someone had swapped their paths overnight. But the way it all lined up made people start asking questions. It looked strategic, and as his fame grew, Katt's reputation kept sinking. Watching the industry reward someone he claimed was built to replace him. Because years later, their feud would resurface again. And that's when things went from personal to straight-up war. By 2018, things had gone quiet. Or at least, that's what everyone thought. Boom. And this time, Tiffany Haddish. He said Tiffany was another Hollywood plant, claiming she hadn't paid her dues, wasn't funny, and was only famous because Hollywood wanted her to be. See, Kevin had been one of Tiffany's biggest supporters. He helped launch her career, put her in movies, and constantly shouted her out. During the Breakfast Club interview, Kevin didn't hold back. He called Katt a failure. Then he took it a step further. That line hit deep. Katt clapped back almost immediately on Instagram, accusing Kevin of lying and trying to protect his Hollywood friends. But it wasn't just about comedy anymore. This was personal. Kevin, Katt, the truth teller, the rebel, the one who refused to play nice. They were dead wrong. And what he said this time made all the old rumors sound tame, because the next chapter in this feud gets darker, stranger, and way more personal. And just when people thought Katt had moved on, in his new interview, Katt didn't just drag Kevin Hart, he practically accused him of selling his soul. According to Katt, Kevin didn't just play the game, and it gets worse. He revealed that during the filming of Friday After Next, producers tried to get him to perform a disturbing scene involving a sexual assault, and when Katt refused, those same people mysteriously stopped calling. And somehow, Kevin Hart started getting them instead. He said it was punishment for refusing to cross the line, and that Kevin was rewarded for doing the things he wouldn't. You play by their rules? Fans were stunned. Half the internet was calling Katt brave for exposing the system, and the other half said he was delusional. Still holding a grudge after all these years? Because what he said next made even longtime Kevin Hart fans pause. I'd rather make $1 million a month and keep my soul than make $85 million and lose it. He didn't say Kevin's name. Still, Kevin wasn't going to let that slide. And when he finally made his next move, it sent another wave through social media. Its strategy. But in true Kevin fashion, he did it with a smile. During a live commentary gig at a New York Knicks game, he dropped a slick joke that everyone knew was aimed straight at Katt Williams. A quick jab, light enough to pass as comedy, but sharp enough that fans instantly caught the subliminal, and I'm not scared. But behind that smile, word started spreading that he was ready to take legal action. A full-blown defamation lawsuit against Katt Williams. Now, that's a bold move, and that's not all. He'd drop subtle lines about people hating from the sidelines and guys who fell off blaming everyone but themselves. But everyone knew exactly who he meant, posting more cryptic messages and claiming he couldn't be bought or silenced. This wasn't just a feud. Two men who started in the same world, now standing on opposite sides of Hollywood's biggest divide. While they're fighting over who's real and who's fake, the internet has already chosen sides. Because once social media got involved, it became bigger than either of them. Once the clips from Katt's interview hit social media, it was over. Thousands of comments, millions of views, and two completely different sides of the story. They called him a truth teller, the last real comedian in a fake industry. Kevin didn't replace Katt by accident, one user wrote. It happened right after Katt's career crashed, like someone swapped them out overnight. But how do you go from background comedian to global superstar in 1 year? Something's off, who weren't having it. Don't call it a conspiracy, one comment read. The debate got loud. Others said it was jealousy dressed up as conspiracy. This wasn't just a petty celebrity beef anymore. It was a reflection of something bigger. Silence versus honesty. And what made it even crazier? Both men seemed to believe they were right. Katt saw himself as proof that truth always comes with a price. That's the question that's got millions debating. And it doesn't stop there. And the ending? So here we are. Two legends, two stories, and one feud that refuses to die. And Katt Williams, the rebel. But underneath the jokes, the interviews, and the online chaos, this isn't really about who's funnier. It's about what happens when integrity and ambition collide. Or did Katt sabotage himself by refusing to bend? Or maybe Katt's the only one brave enough to say out loud what everyone else is too scared to admit. Either way, this feud isn't just about comedy anymore. It's a mirror. And the craziest part? It's still not over. Some say Kevin's the proof that hard work wins. Others say Katt's the proof that truth has a price. So now it's your turn. Did Kevin sell out for success, or is Katt just exposing what everyone already knows but won't say out loud? And if you thought this was wild, wait till you see what Katt said next about Hollywood's chosen ones.